Pros make jamming freely up and down the neck look so easy, but if you're just getting started improvising, it seems nearly impossible to navigate the strings without hitting any wrong notes, and there are a lot of wrong notes. In this lesson, I'll share a straightforward soloing strategy that you can use to start moving up and down the neck like your favorite player. The idea for this strategy hit me like a ton of bricks when I was playing one of my favorite B.B. King style licks. There's gold buried in this simple little lick, and we'll get to that, but we have to take a step back and lay a proper foundation first. You'll need to know the chord that you're going to solo over and where the root notes of that chord are located. And if you haven't yet learned the note names and locations on the fretboard, then start making that a regular part of your practice now. And you can get some help with that by downloading my fretboard toolkit. And you really should learn this because knowing the notes on the neck will pay off big time, and it will make things like moving up and down the neck with flashy licks so much easier. But for this lesson, we're going to play over a C7 chord, which is perfect for creating some bluesy, minor pentatonic based licks. Here are the C notes across the whole fretboard. These are the root notes that we're talking about, although we're just going to focus on the C notes on the top 3 strings. That's perfect for creating some licks. Now, let's use one of my favorite ways to visualize the minor pentatonic scale. We're going to leverage the caged chord shapes. I went into detail about this in another lesson, and I truly think it is a very efficient way to organize the fretboard and play licks around chords that they actually relate to. You can go deeper into that right over here, but in short, we've got to learn the 5 caged chord shapes and then convert each of the shapes into 7th chords. We can do that with all 5 of the shapes, but we're just going to focus on 2 of them here in this lesson. Here is a C shape, and we can make this a C7 by adding the B flat, 3rd string, 3rd fret. Now we can play an A shape C major chord, rooted on the 5th string, 3rd fret, convert that to a C7 by getting that same B flat in the chord. These cage shapes are very movable, which means that you can play any C shape 7th chord. You just change your root note and you're playing a new chord. And this mobility is the power of the cage system, but we're going to supercharge these shapes by hooking a pentatonic shape to each of them. Again, we're just focusing on the top 3 strings, so we'll start our pentatonic scale on the 3rd string. But we want to end on that root. There it is. And we can do the same thing here with our A shape. Just like the chord shapes, these pentatonic scale shapes are movable too. Changing keys becomes as easy as just moving to a different place on the fretboard. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We need to take this and leverage it even further so that we can connect cool licks as we move up the fretboard. So let's go back to our C shape, the C7 chord. Now we're going to use the top 3 strings and play notes from that minor pentatonic scale, and we're going to improvise a short lick. This doesn't have to be fancy, and I want you to let it come naturally, but here's the goal. End on the C note, the root. Here's a quick example. Here's where the strategy really takes off. Play that same lick, but this time shift up the neck to the closest root note for the ending of the lick. In this case, we want to end on the 3rd string, 5th fret. Still a C note, but in a different position. Do you see how this harkens back to that B.B. King move? I'll play it in C real quick and watch this shift from root to root. Did you notice that position shift? That is the key to this strategy. We stuck the landing on the root note of the chord that we're playing over, which is guaranteed to sound good, and doing so actually moved us out of position in a very musical way. I love this because it gets you out of thinking about pentatonic boxes and scale patterns, and it gets you moving around the neck. And plus, shifting to another position just does something exciting for me when I'm playing. It takes me out of that playing it safe feel, and I really feel like I'm going for it. That's a good thing, and that's where some happy accidents are bound to happen. And yeah, sometimes when you go for it, it doesn't work out. But we can protect against that by knowing those caged pentatonic shapes inside and out. So as you practice this, make a conscious effort to know which cage shape you're in and which one that you're shifting into. Over time, you won't have to think about this at all, but it takes smart practice drilling an exercise just like this in order to get there. And please, if you're lost on some of these foundational parts of this strategy, then definitely pick up the fretboard toolkit. It will help you get up to speed so that you can move freely around the neck. But here's the cool thing. Once you're in the new spot on the fretboard, play a few notes from the minor pentatonic scale relative to that position's caged shape, and then keep moving up the neck and targeting the next root note. Here's an example that connects the C shape, A shape, and G shape before we end all the way up on the E shape's C. Practice this with just 2 of the caged 7 shapes like this at first. Work back and forth between them, and then add a third, and then work back and forth between those 3. And just make sure to end every one of your licks on a new position's root note. Then you're going to want to expand this by making sure that you can, of course, shift downward as well, but maybe eliminate the pause when you get to a new position. And then for extra credit, work on this same process by targeting different intervals from the minor pentatonic scale as your shift points. And further still, you can incorporate different scales like Mixolydian, Dorian, or the blues scale even into this strategy. This is really exciting, and it will help you run up and down the fretboard like never before. It really helped me, and I'm sure that it can help you too. The thing is, this is infinitely easier if you know your fretboard. If you're confused by these chord grips or where these intervals are on the fretboard, or you would love to incorporate a few other tones as shift points, then you should definitely check out the Fretboard Toolkit. You can pick up your copy at the link right over here, and I'll see you next week. Until then, practice smart and play on.